reading the gospel then, and it's Janet and Sean's fault. They were giggling in the early service in the gospel reading, and apparently at their old church there were two gentlemen, both called Ian, that were leaders in the church, and there was a lady who could never remember which one was which. And then one day she said, I know, that's Ian with one eye and Ian with two eyes. Right. Imagine this morning that we're about to do the service, and as I finish reading the gospel, some random person that none of us know walks through the door, climbs into the pulpit and starts preaching to you. And Janet and I are, well, one of us was voted on for today. What's going on here? Yeah? And this person has no connection with the diocese, with any church anywhere, no formal training, and they're proclaiming things in Jesus' name. Well, I think for a split second we were like, yeah, great, we've got the day off. And then we'll be, hang on a minute, what are they going to say? Whenever you get somebody who begins to preach, you get their training incumbent who always likes to read through what they put, just to make sure there's nothing heretical there that's going to get them in any bother with a bishop. You know, like preaching the truths of the creed or not, you know, Jesus is not the Son of God, stuff like that. And to preach, you require training, okay, in the diocese. There is the occasional preacher's course, which isn't too onerous, but it just ensures that you've got that basic doctrine. For the lay minister's course, that's a year or two, depending on what you've done before, and for ordination, that's 2 or 3 years, again, depending on what you've done before. So Janet and I have done lots of hard work and assignments on the Old Testament, the New Testament, church history, doctrine. So I think outwardly, this person appeared, we'd be very polite, but inwardly, we'd be thinking, hang on a minute, you know, what's going on here? And that is the position that the disciples found themselves in this morning. If we go back a few verses in this chapter in Mark's Gospel, there is an encounter that we haven't had in our readings. And the disciples are trying to cast out an evil spirit in somebody. And now you see them witnessing these other people casting out these demons in Jesus' name. But just imagine this scene. I want you to picture it. You've got this distressed and distraught father, the despair on his face, the anxiety in his voice, the desperation in his manner, as he's begging the disciples, please, you are followers of Jesus, cast out this unclean spirit from my son. And picture the disciples stood there, helpless, hopeless, as this unclean spirit refuses to budge. And they must have been thinking, well, what are we doing wrong? And then picture this same father again, jubilant, joyful, the gratitude in his face, the excitement in his manner, thanking this group of complete strangers for casting out the unclean spirit in Jesus' name. Well, I'm sure the disciples were totally confused as this group of strangers worked wonders in Jesus' name where they couldn't. And let's be honest, having followed Jesus so closely, listened to him so carefully, been commissioned by him so authoritatively, having already had such good experience of exercising his power, surely they would have had every right to expect this demon to yield as they acted decisively in Jesus' name. They'd have been brimming full of confidence. So imagine their feelings of surprise and confusion and embarrassment when they failed. And having never seen those strangers following Jesus or being commissioned by Jesus, surely the disciples had every right to expect Jesus to withdraw authorization from their activities. They must have felt really, really indignant. I'm sure that, they heard him endorse these unlicensed exorcisms and these healings, and they were condoning this uncontrolled ministry. I'm sure that they were disturbed and perplexed, and quite frankly, rather annoyed, if not quite angry. John, the disciple in this text, doesn't say that these strangers interfered with the disciples' work. He doesn't say that this stranger had a different purpose, or even that he opposed him. He simply says he wasn't following us. He wasn't following us. Never mind that the bloke was casting out demons in Jesus' name. He wasn't one of them, and that seemed to be the stumbling point. And when they confront Jesus about it, his reply is, whoever is not against us is for us. And that's the verse that's leapt out at me all week. Whoever is not against us is for us. Once again, we have Jesus asking us to look at ourselves. The passage continues with that great big scary bit. Pull out your eye, chop off your arm, chop off your leg. If you don't, you're going to hell. But what he's actually saying is be self-reflective. See if you become a stumbling block to others or to yourself. And it's as if he's saying to John, don't worry about the other bloke. Don't mind what he's up to. Worry about yourself. The greatest stumbling blocks are often the ones that we put up ourselves. Anger, judgment, prejudice, being unprepared to listen, assuming we know more